it's me, Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafter. I am a bit early for my YouTube live. Normally I start at 3 o'clock and it's just coming up to 3, so I thought I would start early. I'm hoping that I get an email to tell me that I have gone live, but we will wait and see if that happens. Doesn't always work, sometimes, but not always. Anyway, I will use the time to do my housekeeping. So I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the UK, working across France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Belgium and Ireland. It is what I do all day. It means I can get to craft without it costing me money. It's wonderful. So I wouldn't say it's a job. Well, it is a job because I work at it every working day. But yeah, it means that I can pay for some of the little extras. Apparently I'm not going to get an email telling me I'm going live. Oh no, I have it now. I have it now. So I am officially live. So yes, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yes, we have people. We have Shaz. We have Linda. We have Nora. We have another Nora from Washington. I'm guessing Washington State, Nora Taylor. We have Sherry from Oregon on a sunny morning. It's a little overcast here today, but not too bad. And Minda, aloha Minda from Honolulu. It's 5 a.m. So you're either up very late or very early, one or the other. So yes, welcome. If you, while you're watching, you enjoy what you see, a thumbs up is always appreciated. And if you don't already subscribe, you can do that by hitting the subscribe button, which should be in the bottom right-hand corner. I do have a tickle. For those of you who follow me regularly, you will know that I had a rather nasty cold earlier in February. And it has left me with a tickly cough. But I have got a bottle of water with me, so hopefully we will be okay. Hello, Judith. I love the Lizettes. I may have to change my team name to the Lizettes. I mean, I know you aren't all on my team, but I quite like the Lizettes as a team name. I think that's good. Anyway, I have had a look at the inventory status report for Europe, and I'm going to cough. Excuse me. It doesn't hurt. I'm just going to say, I am delighted to see that those of you in Europe are taking my advice and are ordering things that are colour. Because currently, if you want the ink refill bundles, unless you want the regals, you're going to have to wait. But it looks like there is a very big order coming in on the 20th of March with lots of things, not the punches, I'm afraid, but lots of the other things that are currently not orderable. Things that are not orderable if they're a colour, like, card, ink pads. As a general rule, they are low inventory if they are available. So that's actually quite good. I think that's kind of good news. Hello, Carol. So, I have got, finally, it took a while. I placed 2 orders at the back end of February, beginning of March, while I was in bed with a ridiculously high temperature. And I got one of them yesterday, which had done a little tour of, well, actually, no, that one hadn't done a tour. That one had just stayed in Frankfurt for a long while. So that arrived yesterday. And then the other one, which left the warehouse initially first, is due to arrive today. Fingers crossed. That will be my customer gifts. So those are all ready to go once I've got the customer gifts to put into the parcels. But I have got all of the online exclusives now. So you've ordered the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. Oh, I hope you enjoy it. Have you got it? Because I love it. Has it arrived yet? That's the question. Anyway, so yes, I have ordered all of the online exclusive items, other than the circle punches, because I already had those. So I'm going to be playing with one of those today, and it's one that you probably haven't looked at, but I already know one of the projects that I'm going to use it for. So I'm going to flip the camera down. Don't worry, Carol. It makes a change for it to be my first name. Normally it's my second name. You haven't got it yet. Okay, Leanne. Well, I'm sure you will enjoy it. So I'm going to flip the camera down and I will show you sort of what I'm planning. So I've got the card ready to go and I've got my template ready to go. I'm using the Growth Takes Time stamp set. This is an online exclusive. I'm going to have a drink. But I think people are going to miss it because it's not kind of sexy and that it doesn't have dies that go with it. However, so I think if you are a teacher, if you have a team, I mean I have a team, if you're involved in anything where people are going to progress, this is going to be a very, very useful stamp set because we've got a seed, a small tree, a larger tree, a watering can, which obviously is watering the seed, and then just some random leaves. But we've got be patient, your time will come, be gentle with yourself, look how far you've come, and growth takes time. So my plan for this afternoon is to do a trifold card, which does mean it takes a whole sheet of card, which is never a great idea, but you know, bear with. And it's going to go from a seed to a small tree to a large tree. That's my plan. Haven't actually done it, but that's my plan. Just wanted to check that there weren't any more messages. There aren't. I'm using, also an online exclusive, the Radiating Stitches dies. So there's 2 circles, and you can cut a frame by using the larger circle with the smaller circle inside. There's a heart, which I will be using, and then there are 3 rectangles, and again you can do a frame simply by cutting this with this and then this with this. This obviously it doesn't make a frame, although I think the rectangle dies probably will fit in this inside. If we get time I'll have a look at that later on. But I wanted to do a trifold card with the seed. I'm going to fussy cut the watering can, for those of you who don't like fussy cutting. Sorry. Hello, Claire. Hello, Shaz. Your daughter is allowed to phone. Hello, Jan. So yes, I'm going to have the watering can. So I'm going to have the seed, hopefully, on the heart. No, I'm going to play safe and go for the circle, because I think the heart may not be quite big enough. So I'm going to use the circle on the front of the card and then the 2 inner rectangles on the inside of the card, but I'm going to use them as rectangles, not as frames. So those are the dies that I'm going to use. Hello, Nora. You've got an appointment. That's fine. Enjoy your appointment if it's that sort of appointment, and if not, I hope it goes well. As in, if it's not that sort of appointment, I hope it goes well. Ramble. If there's one thing you can guarantee if you join me on a live, it's going to be that I ramble. Right, so I've done my template. So this is my template, and the idea is that you have the seed, then you have the small tree, and then you have the large tree. That's my plan. There will be blank panels as well. I'll have to think about what I'm doing about this. So I've got a piece of grey granite card because the paper I'm using comes from a pack that has grey granite in it. So, trimmer. Now, what I'm doing is I'm making this easy maths. So, for A4 card, the length from top to bottom is 29, I think it's 29.7 centimetres, which is a ridiculous measurement. Why it couldn't have been 30, I do not know, but it's not. The width is fine, it's 21 centimetres. But the height is just... Anyway, so I'm going to cut this so that I've got the right height for an A6 card, and then I'm going to cut it and trim it to do my trifold. There's probably an easier way of doing it, but I haven't worked it out yet. So I'm cutting that piece away, and then I am going to score. This is the easy way to do it. I'm going to score at 9.5. Then I'm going to score again at 9.5 from there. So there's 9.5. There you are. You're there. I have to say in fact, I'm going to do what I did before. What I did when I was working this out is I actually folded it. So much easier. And then I can just pop this in. That is where the score line needs to be, so I can then open that up, and it is 9.5 or just over 9.5 centimetres. It's fine. Do that, and then so I fold that in, I fold that on top, and then I'm just going to trim that away. So it's basically 9.5 centimetres each time. So let's do that and trim that away. So this is the non-measuring way of doing it, which is so much easier. Hello Jane, hello Margaret. So we've got Kira Weave in Sydney, Australia, and we've got Jane from Georgia. So Margaret from Australia, and we've got Kate from Aylesbury. The lovely Kate. You're just running off on the school run. We must catch up soon. Well, we're seeing each other later in the month. Kate and I are involved in a training thing that's being run by our country demonstrator support person. No, DDM, demonstrator development manager. And she's asked Kate and I if we will present at this event, which of course we will happily do, because we will. So we will be catching up soon, and we can use that opportunity to set a date. We have brunch regularly, because we are ladies that brunch, because we aren't that far away from each other. So I'm using paper from the Delicate Desert, or Dessert, depending on how you look at it. And I thought this would be nice as a background for trees. I'm going to use white card for the trees and for all the stamping, but this is a really nice paper pack. It's just got lovely stuff in it. It's just gorgeous. So, but I just wanted a kind of a fairly plain background. So I'm going to cover the whole of the front of the card with this, and then I'm going to cover the inside bits as well that have stamping elements on them. So this I'm going to cut at 9.5 centimetres, because that is how wide my card is meant to be. I'm going to go slightly bigger because I can always trim down, but I can't add on. And I'm going to do 2 sheets at 9.5 centimetres ish, so that I've got enough. And then I'm just going to stick them on, trim them down. So I'm going to do this the easy way, the non-measuring way. Is it really next week? Wow. Gosh, yes. Is it next week? Probably is next week. It is. It's next week. It is. It's the 24th. Wow. I've got a few swaps to make. I'm going to be using this for the swaps because it's all about growth. And what we're doing is about growth in a Stampin' Up business. So I thought it was ideal. So I'm going to add the adhesive to my card because I can. And it's just for me an easier way of doing it. Or maybe not. It may be the difficult way for me to do it. Maybe the cack-handed way of me doing it. So I'm going to do something that's similar to this for the swaps for the event, but I'm not going to use trifold because that's 1 sheet of card for everyone, and there are going to be 20 of us. That's a lot of card, so I'm not doing that. Right, so let's burnish that down nicely. So that actually fits really well, having that little bit extra width. So let's trim that away, and then I'm going to do the same on this flap, and then the same on the inside. Now the inside I'm going to have to dry fit because I won't have the opportunity to trim it down, and I'll explain what I mean when we get there. So this is the basic construction. Then we'll do the stamping and the colouring and all that good stuff. So this goes on here, and it's one of those patterns, it doesn't matter which way up it goes. So let's just see if that is, yeah, I might have to trim it down a wee bit, but basically that's fine. So the key to this obviously is to not then close my card. So why didn't I open it instead? So yes, outside of North America, no, let's phrase it a different way. In North America, their Stamping Up head office runs a business development course. I don't know how you apply, but they do. I believe they're changing how you do it slightly. But outside of North America, we don't have that opportunity. So it's down to the local Stamping Up person to organise stuff. So that's why we are doing some stuff on that. Let's trim that away. So yes, it's not just paper pumpkin we don't get in the rest of the world. Not that I'm bitter and twisted, because I'm not. I'm trying to think what I've been up to that I can tell you about. I was at the gym this morning, nearly killed myself. It was one of my regular training sessions. We go as a group. Hello, Deborah from Michigan. We go as individuals, but to make up a small group. And when we go into our training room, if there are no weights, we always shudder. Ooh, that's going to fit perfectly, because that means it's going to be really, really hard. Which is ironic, because you'd think it's going to be harder when there are weights. But it normally means that we're going to end up having to do wall sits and stuff like that, because we do a whole section on cardio, and then we do a section on abdominals. For cardio today, so we do 4 rounds of each set. The first set is 45 seconds and is cardio, basically, and upper body. And the second set is 35 seconds and is abs. So this morning we were doing running on the spot, which was fine. Ironically, my pulse goes down when I run on the spot. And then we were followed with deadlifts, which I was doing deadlifting with both hands, deadlifting 20 kilos. So that was fun. And the idea is that you're not allowed to put it down, so you pick it up. It's a kettle. And then a kettlebell, and then you pull it up, you push it down, and you're not allowed to let it touch the ground. So that was the second exercise. Then we did backward lunges, and then push-ups. And I do full body push-ups, none of this doing it from your knees malarkey. I'm on full body. So that killed us, and you only get about 15 seconds between each set to recuperate. And then we were doing scissor kicks so it's scissor kicks, crunches, and moving plank for the second set. So yes, hard work. Hello, B. And Shaz has just spotted that Kate's there. She may not be there now, Shaz, because she's got the school run. Anyway, so let's see which way is the neatest. It's going to be that way. So that's going to be my front. And because I've chosen this pattern, it doesn't matter whether I have it that way up or that way up. Just saying. It's almost like I know that I'm not terribly good at these things sometimes. White, right, I haven't got any basic white, so let's grab some, because I'm going to need some basic white. So I am going to need to cut frames and also do some fussy cutting. So let's cut. If I cut across there, that will be big enough. And I like to cut crooked so that I know that it's sorry, I've just got to get rid of an alert that tells me I've got an out-of-date driver. Do I want to restart? No. Now. No, I don't. It's not going to let me. There we go. So yes, I always do a wiggly cut so that I know that it's a cut, not a straight edge. Otherwise I end up thinking it's a straight edge and it's not. So I'm using my big die cutter because then hopefully I can do this all in one pass. So I want to do this at a slight angle so that I'm not asking it to go over a straight hump. And my circle, and I'll have enough space for my fussy cutting piece. Hurrah! So let's get all that lot through, and then I'll show you what they look like. This is the first time I've used these dies. They arrived yesterday was Wednesday. They arrived on Tuesday, but I was doing other stuff yesterday, so didn't get to play. Right. Of course, I'll then stamp badly, but it's fine. It's fine. Right. Let's take your pick. There we are. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Right. These would look lovely on foil. They would look yummy on foil. Foil, I think, always looks really good when it's got stitching and that sort of thing. Oh, let's go down first. Right. Okay, so let's have a look. Can I, maybe if I go use my zoom, which is there, that might be better. I think you can just about catch where that is. You can see, if you can just about see it if I put it in the shade, actually. So yes, really, really lovely. So it's dashes coming in rather than stitches going round, so it's quite a nice contrast to what we've already got. So growth takes time. So that's going to go on there, only just. That's going to go on there, and then my little seed is going to go on there, and I'm going to fussy cut my watering can. And I will have sentiments, so if we have that there, can I get, yes, look how far you've come. You can go with that one. And then I can stamp on the inside. I'm going to put liners on the inside and do some stamping with other sentiments. Right, I know what I'm doing. Maybe. Right, okay. So, don't you love that I've planned this? Some people are so organised, and then there's me. Never been that organised. If I need to be, I can be. But if I don't actually need to be organised, I can be the most disorganised person on the planet. Right, I'm going to start with my watering can and then work from there. So, Memento, which I'm hoping has still got some ink on it because I was doing some swiping with it yesterday, so yes, that's all right. So I'll pop that to one side for the moment. Then I need my circle. I was about to pick up the circle die. There we are, as opposed to the circle die cut. So, now the joy with a circle, of course, is that it's bound to be straight. So wherever I stamp, it's going to be straight. Like that. So that's that. Now I am going to do a dry stamp of the sentiment. And by that I mean I'm going to get a piece of the small grid paper and stamp the sentiment so I can see if it is straight to the label. So if I line up, you've come, I have to make sure I don't get my head in, look how far you've come, that's lined up in my eye on a line, but it's not. Okay, so I need to go up a bit. Right, I now know how I've got to stamp that. Not to say I'm going to. I prefer to see the project build. I don't engage as well with demos who have everything planned out and cut, etc. Oh, thank you, Shaz. Yeah, I just kind of go with the flow. Obviously, if I'm doing a recorded, I know where I'm going. That's almost straight. because I will have planned that out. So this, I've just literally done a template for the fold to see if that works. Might actually go up a bit. So yes, I've got a template for the fold, and knew roughly in my head where I was going, but I haven't done a first go. Can you explain the difference between certain types of inks? Do oxides take longer to dry? What ink is best when colouring with Copics? Right. Yes, I can, and yes, I can't. I don't use oxides. Those are the Tim Holt oxides. Beautiful distress oxides. I think they do take longer to dry. Distress, if I've understood it correctly, distress oxides are a kind of mix between a dye ink and a pigment ink. So, the basic inks are dye, water-based, or pigment, which aren't either water or alcohol-based, but they stay wet for a long time and you can emboss with them, as in you can use heat embossing powders with them. There is then StazOn, which is an alcohol-based ink, which is great if you're watercolouring. So if you want to use watercolour, anything that is water-based, then you want StazOn or another alcohol-based ink. If you are using alcohol markers, so whether they're blends or Copic or Pro Marker or any alcohol-based ink, you want a water-based, dye-based ink. And Memento is one of those. There are others, but Memento is the one that I've always used. Even before I was a demo, I would use these for alcohol inks. And indeed, I'm going to use alcohol inks for this, or alcohol markers for this. So, perfect question. But yeah, oxides, I think, just take a bit longer to dry than a dye-based, but are a bit quicker to dry than a pigment ink. Hope that explained it. Yeah, I think I've covered that. But yes, so, and you will get different qualities of dye-based ink. So you can get, I mean, our inks are very, very highly pigmented, but you can get dye-based inks that have got a lot of water and not much pigment. Leanne's always used Memento. So yes, I would say you're using the right thing, Leanne. Right, I'm just going to grab Soft Succulent, some brown, possibly some of the naturals, and grey granite and something for the heart. Won't be long. So, Soft Succulent, grey granite. Yay! Got grey granite, not smoky slate. Something for the heart. I'm going to go. Ooh, actually, I think it's Calypso Coral in the paper. So I'm going to stick with that, and brown, I'll go there for brown, I think. So I may have to add some more, but let's see. Let us see how we go. So I'm going to have my watering can. Ooh, I could do some water as well, couldn't I? I always like, for just basic water, I like soft sea foam. I know, weird. You'd think Pool Party or Balmy Blue, but no, I like seafoam. Right, so I am going to grab my grey granite first. And this is the light grey granite. And I'm just going to colour anything that I want grey with light grey granite. So, as I say, these are Memento inks. So, good. I'm glad I basically covered everything. But I would say it's better to buy one really good dye-based ink than lots of bad dye-based ink, because you'll just get so frustrated with bad ink. It's just not good. If you get StazOn for your watercolouring, please don't throw away the plastic inner. In fact, I will do the watering can and then I will show you my trick for keeping that plastic inner in place, because you want that so that it doesn't evaporate. Hello, Tina. No, our clocks change. Ooh, I can't remember where you're from, Tina. I think you're from the US, aren't you? So your clocks have changed. Our clocks change at the end of the month. Our clocks always change, and I've said this before, but hey, it's me being, making a fool of myself, so why not say it again? I was in my 30s before I realised that our clocks always change on the last Sunday in March and the last Sunday in October. I always thought, someone sat down and decided what the date was that the clocks changed. No, they're always the same day. So yes, I know that. So Europe changes at the same time as us, but I don't know when Australia changes. We've got some Aussies on; they can tell me, or us. But yeah, I know that North America, or certainly the US, have changed. So do Canada change at the same time as the US? Because that would be awkward. Right, so that's that. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab my StazOn just to show you. So StazOn, solvent-based ink, alcohol. It was really early for us this year. Oh, okay. So, the smell is interesting. It's like almonds or almond essence. So I've got 2 little bits of dimensional stuck to the inside of the lid that are keeping this plastic piece in place, and it's just the right spacing for that plastic bit to actually be directly on top of the ink pad. So there you are. That's your free lesson for today on keeping your StazOn ink pad juicy. Right, so I'm just going to add some bits. I'm going to be cutting the this as a solid, because there is no way I'm going to fussy cut round little streaks like that. Although having said that, I have rather set myself a challenge, haven't I? Right, and I'm going to go, I'm sure it is Calypso Coral in the paper. Yes. And I know there is no Calypso Coral in the paper, but it just feels right to pick the colour that the designers picked. Right, so that's my little heart. So that's that. Don't need those. And then for my trees and my seed, I'm going to use these. I'm just going to test my colours. So this is 200 and 300. No, 300 and 400. Yeah, those should do. Right, so... Oh, wrong end. I don't like the pointy end. We changed last weekend and it was really early for us. That's Canada. Oh, okay. Yes, so Canada and the US change at the same time. Yes. Yes, they both apparently changed early. So I am going for quite a dark tree. I'm going to do the fine bits and then I'll do the other bits because they'll be quicker. Now, one of the things you have to think about if you're doing a fold like this is whether you put anything on dimensionals. So I'm going to keep my dimensionals just for the front of the card, because otherwise you're adding bulk in the middle and that kind of feels wrong somehow. But do just think about that. You could, if you haven't got the naturals, you can use soft suede. Does a good tree. Crumb cake is a bit grey, really, for a tree, in my humble opinion. I'm not doing brilliant colouring because obviously I'm trying to get it done reasonably quickly. Have I managed to keep my nodding out of the way? Yes, I have. I don't like summer winter time at all. Oh, Mary, yes, it's one of those strange things. I would rather deal with going to America huge time difference, than just having the clocks change. I will be out of sync for weeks. And strangely, so I went to Austria for On Stage in November. That at Central European time is an hour ahead of Great Britain and Ireland, and that didn't worry me so much as when the clocks change. I think because I knew I was changing country, it didn't impact so badly. I'm doing a really bad job of colouring this tree. It's going to be even more fun with that one. I will go back and add some shading with the darker colour, although technically that's a lighter colour, but anyway, with the other colour. In these natural colours, you get a yellow base and a red base or pink base in each combo, if that makes sense. So this is the yellow base and this is the pink base. So yes, if you draw them all out, you'll see that you get a kind of yellowier look and a pinker look. So sometimes you do need to have the two, so the medium dark and the dark, for example. And I also need my seed. And obviously that is green because it's a seed. Right, so let's do a little bit of quick shading. And this, as I say, this is just putting on a pinker version of the colour, but it is differentiating some of the areas. So it's not just a flat colour, it's got a bit of depth to it. So after this, I will be, oh, I need to check the time. I will be going to be cracked and popped again. That seems to be working quite nicely. My sciatica is definitely improved as a result. Right, I think I'll leave it at that for that. Let's just quickly check the time. I've had a sudden panic. Oh no, it's fine, it's fine. Suddenly thought it was at 3:50, in which case I would have to leave now. How has the weather been there? We've had the worst weather this month in Texas, with severe weather and storms popping up. It's been odd. We've not had nearly as bad weather as the US have had, but it has been a bit odd. Normally it would be getting warmer now, and it's not been cold, but we did have a cold snap last week when we had snow. Parts of Scotland and Wales were quite badly hit with snow. We've had high winds here. I'm in the middle of the UK. You couldn't get more central if you tried. This is the dark soft suede, soft succulent even. And I'm not being too worried about staying within the lines because they're leaves. They can have shading. So yeah, it's been a bit odd, but not odd. I mean, the fact that California has had... Am I right in thinking California has had snow? In bits of California that don't ever have snow? We had a lot of flooding earlier in the year. It wasn't as bad as it has been, so we weren't cut off as a village, which sometimes we are. But it was quite prolonged. And it's been really weird because we have the flooding and then it's been very dry. So everyone going, oh, we desperately need rain. Well, actually the ground is still very wet with the water table. So it's kind of odd. Oh, Shaz, absolutely. Any improvement is definitely a blessing. Your mother is 96 and she sat in her closet half the month. Wow, presumably because it's so cold and blowy. That's appalling. But yeah, Shaz, the chiropractor is definitely helping a number of things. I went for help with my sciatica, but it's helping with other things as well. So yeah. Oh, I might need another brown for the ground. I'm doing a really bad job of colouring these. But hey. And these are what I want to colour for the swap I'm doing. Oh well. Hey ho. Maybe I'll need to use Stampin' Right markers instead. So what you can do, you have to be careful, but what you can do is you can mix Stampin' Right markers and alcohol ink. So if you stamp in Memento, once it has properly set, and again, those of you who follow me regularly will know that I go on about this quite a lot, but if you stamp and then leave it to be really dry, I mean, I would be tempted to stamp in the evening and then leave it overnight. Because it's then water resistant, it's not waterproof like StazOn, but it is water resistant, you can, if you're careful and don't go over the same area a lot, for two reasons, I'll cover one in a minute. So if you could then use your Stampin' Right markers for fine detail. You wouldn't want to go over it a lot, A, because that will reactivate the ink, so it will smudge, but also if you go over one area with a wet thing like Stampin' Right markers, you can pill the card. So you basically break down the fibres of the card, which is not a good look. Gosh, you've been watching me colouring for about half an hour now. Aren't you lucky? I'd like to say it'll be worth it in the end, but I have no idea whether it will, because I've not seen what the end looks like. So I'll just finish these leaves and then I'll have a look and see if there are any comments I've missed. Right, so I just need to do this. Right, okay, comments. Yes, Barbara, that's why you were lost. It's because of the time change. So if you're in the US or Canada, as we've just established, your clocks have changed and ours haven't. It's not unusual for North America to be ahead or behind Europe on this. I used to work for American companies and it used to do my head in. Absolutely used to do my head in. Thank heavens for automatic calendar scheduling, because it would sort it out for me. But I'd think that, you know, I'd have an appointment at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and suddenly it wasn't, because the clocks have changed. And depending on whose meeting it was would depend on whether it was being governed by Europe or the UK or North America. Yeah, no, I'm going to leave those solid. I could, if I was really feeling like it, I could separate them. I'm not going to. Really can't be bothered. Ooh. Not the best fussy cutting I've ever done. Do I want to do the inside of that? Yeah, it's going to be on pattern paper. Be careful when you do this, because you need to be aware of when the point goes through, otherwise you're going to stab yourself. Now, I like to go, if I'm cutting into an area, a trapped area, I like to go to any corners first, because that gives you a little bit of flexibility on where you're going, like that. So I can then come in from underneath and take that bit out, which will then give me enough room to do the rest. It's going to be a bit cack-handed because I'm, again, going in underneath. Can you see that? More or less. So I would actually hold it here, but then you won't be able to see it. But for this, I will be particularly cack-handed. Do you know cack-handed means left-handed? Just thought I'd mention that. So I'm not being cack-handed at all because I'm using my right hand. Right, it's not the best fussy cutting I've ever done. Let's see if I can tidy it a wee bit. That's a bit better. Right, okay, let's put this together. So this I can have on dimensionals because this is going to be on the front. So I'm going to put it on dimensionals. Just going to see if I can get that to sit better. Oh, with straight pins, yes, or your take your pick. That can be painful. Yeah, anything straight, not a good idea. Right, I'm just going to pop a couple or three dimensionals on. Come on. Do you find that sometimes you've got very loose tops to your dimensionals and sometimes they are not loose? Because this lot seem to not want to be stuck down at all. Right, so I'm going to go up a bit actually. I'm going to put everything much further up than one might imagine. So that just needs one of those. And have I got any edge bits left? Yes! Excellent. Right, my sticky scissors, as in the ones I keep for using with sticky things. So you're left-handed but run math keyboards right-handed. Ooh. My father was left-handed. And as a child, I know I've said this before, but hey, as a child I would get very confused. So I would often be, you know, one of my chores would be to lay the table. And I knew he was left-handed, so I would lay his place right-handed. And for years I hadn't noticed that the first thing he did when he sat down was change everything back over to being right-handed. He was of a generation where being left-handed wasn't that popular, and a lot of his peers would have it, what was known as beaten out of them. Literally, if they used their left hand, they were beaten, as in whacked. But his parents said they were happy for him to be left-handed, but he had to eat right-handed because it was antisocial otherwise. So he learnt to be a right-handed eater. Now, I want that. This ribbon is the most amazing ribbon that we have. It is soft succulent, or pool party, or pretty much any of those pale greens that you want. Mint macaron does a brilliant impression of mint macaron, so long as it's with that colour. Now, I'm not going to tie a knot. Oh, I did want to put earth, didn't I? Oh, I'll just use what I've got. So I'm not going to do a knot because that will cause bulk. I'm just going to stick it straight on the back, if I can find my Seal Plus. So we're going to make one whole card. Whoa, sorry, just need to get a silicone mat. So I can see through my silicone mat. So I can line that up. I can see where the bottom of the tree is because it bleeds, alcohol markers bleed through. I want to be a little bit further down than that. So that should be let's do it this way. So that needs to be lined up with that line, like that. Right, so that is stuck down. I'm going to trap my ribbon with more Seal Plus so that it doesn't have any chance of coming out. And then I'm just going to use Seal for the rest of it. Obviously I could use Seal Plus, but I won't. I'll use Seal. And that is going to go in there, like that. And then this goes in the middle. Like that. And then if I grab a liner, which I'm going to have to trim down because obviously it's narrower than normal, so I need to take about yay off. Right, trimmer. Let's get rid of that. I have a shelf over there, by the way, so if you saw me throw my silicone mat in a rather churlish fashion, I was throwing it at a shelf. I have a little corner unit there. Shaz was left-handed, but the nuns made my first school. Taped your left hand to the table, yeah. They tried to break your mum for being left-handed, but it didn't work. Good, Leanne. But yeah, Shaz, most of your family are left-handed. Well, say my father was left-handed. I have always been predominantly right-handed, other than we played lacrosse at our school. Now in the States that's incredibly dangerous, and you wear, the goalie I know wears bodyguards like American footballers. Not in the UK, we just, you know, get on with it. And I picked when I first started playing, I picked the stick-up left-handed, and I was made to play right-handed because you throw a ball right-handed, therefore you have to play lacrosse right-handed. Really? Right, I think I'm going to go for growth takes time. Or maybe be patient. No, I'm going to do growth takes time. Growth takes time. And then I think we'll call it a day because really don't have much time for anything else. I will maybe show you what I've got in the way of goodies. Let's get soft succulent to stamp that. I know I did the outside, the middle sentiment in black, but let's go soft succulent. Is it straight? Not bad. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. So in fact, we could put another panel there. Let's put another panel there, which has the other thing, be patient or whatever it was. As we have two panels, let's use both panels. But I think for anyone who is starting out on, you know, any plan that they've got, is that piece? Yes, it is. So that is just over 1 centimetre. So it's about there. It'll do. It'll be fine. It's a bit narrow, but it'll be fine. It will be a-okay. Right. I think we'll go be patient, your time will come. Good. Near enough. Near enough. That'll do. Let's take that away. Pop this in, and then I will show you the finished item. Say this is a bit narrow, but it will be fine. Right, so we've got on the outside, in fact I'm going to add some gems to that, because we've got, I'm going to add elegant faceted gems, because I like them a lot. So I'm going to add some gems, and somewhere I've got a, let's use the take the pick that's got something on the pokey end, that's better. Right, so I'm going to go clear. Got a bit of gick. There we go. I like the clear because they are clear, but it means that they pick up the colour that's behind. There we go. So we've got our little seed that we're watering. Then we've got be patient, your time will come. Look how far you've come. Then we've got growth takes time. So for anyone who is in that kind of, you know, going on a journey, you know what I mean. I think this is going to be a fantastic set. So let's catch up on best thing ever, in my opinion. Made life a lot easier. What, being right-handed or left-handed? Both your children are left-handed, Claire. Oh, okay. Hello, Claire. Didn't realise you were there. At least I don't think I realised you were there. Shaz loved lacrosse. Sherry's liking the card. Thank you. I think it's just an inspirational little stamp set. I do need to stick. There's something catching, so I do need to have a look at the sticking. But I think it is just. It's going to be a lot around for a long time because people aren't going to buy it. But I think it is a fantastic. It's going to be great for team stuff, definitely. So the other things that I have got that are, you know, reasonably to hand are not those. Are where did I put them? Oh, I put them up here. So I've got the tropical leaf, and we do still have the tropical leaf punch. Being made to do everything right-handed was the best thing. Okay, Shaz. Thank you, Gwen. So this is the tropical leaf. We do have the punch in Europe. This is photopolymer. And because it's got lots of solid, you're going to want to prep your stamps. And I also got Rhino ready with the matching dies. And the other thing, which I must show you because they're gorgeous, that is three things. So yes, Rhino ready dies, elegant border dies. I mean, they are gorgeous. Thank you, Carol. Look at those. Look at those. They're just stunning. I'm going to have to make something with maybe black and white so that you can see just how beautiful they are. And then there's some ribbons, which I thought were going to be like ribbon we used to have, but they're not. So well, they sort of are and sort of aren't. So it's a very narrow silver and a very narrow gold. Not totally dissimilar to the very narrow silver and gold we had when I first joined 7 years ago, but they are different. So this is the gold. We had a very narrow, in fact no, it was a wider one, which was very vanilla with a gold edging and white with a silver edging, and this is like a narrow version of that. But it's going to be great for adding to just little bits. So, and great for tags, obviously. Love the card. Not a set view. That's fair enough, Shaz. Not sure I would use the sentiment. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Pretty ribbon it is, Tina. So yes, I mean, as I say, this is a set that if you are something like a teacher, particularly I think primary school, older primary school kids, so 9, 10, 11, who would understand the concept, of things growing. I think this would be such a lovely set, and obviously you can choose colours that are really sort of zingy. But yeah, so I am going to flip the camera back up, maybe if I can find my mouse, to do my farewells properly. Where are we? There we are. Hello. So if you've enjoyed it, thumbs up, always appreciated. If you're watching on replay, by all means leave a comment below in the description bar. You'll know it's replay because I will have changed the heading to say replay. I may even have changed the slide. I will add a proper slide, obviously. Sometimes I use gold embroidery floss on cards. That would be a very good thing to use, Leanne. Yeah. So have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm going to go off and be popped and pummeled. And then I've got a meeting this evening, which is going to be interesting. And I will be back with a recorded for Saturday. I will remember to do it, I promise. And then live again on Tuesday. Shaz has done her thumbs up tick. Thank you, Shaz. So, thank you very much indeed. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon, I hope. Bye for now. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Leanne. Thank you. Bye-bye.